Adrian, Jim Norcross, Beard Gang Rise. Let's go! We fans of wrestling, fans of wrestling, fans of wrestling, fans of wrestling. Monday night, oh, and we dance it, and we dance it, and we dance it. We fans of wrestling, fans of wrestling, fans of wrestling, fans of wrestling. Monday night, oh, and we dance it, and we dance it, and we dance it. Who's got the beards? 3 beards. Every Monday we rise. Beards lock, take sharp. Wrestling alive, bring to the stream. We break it precise. 3 beards of wrestling ignite. Monday night, Shane call the shots. Voice cuts like a sharp promo blade. Adrian bring the heat. Build momentum, never fade. Jim Norcross lay facts deep. Knowledge hits the mark. 3 bearded vets slice through raw. Smackdown, there you dog. Live streams blade. Facebook, Insta, YouTube live feed. Mark Met steps in. Dungeon coach dropping creed. Rob Noxious rolls up. Indie fire from the PA scene. Old school stories hit hard. Legacy clean. 3 beards of wrestling. Beards of wrestling. Beards of wrestling. Beards of wrestling. Monday night. Oh, and we pass it. And we pass it. And we pass it. New logo sharp, fresh look, but the passion stays raw. Shenanigans subtle. Chaos we draw, botch calls crisp, no slack on the slip or the miss. Storylines carved, views we analyze. Dismiss, open call rings, fans stepping, bring your fire, passion fuel the grind, lift us higher, mean your rumors drop, we chase every angle tight. Beards hold the crown, kings under the light. 3 bears of wrestling, bears of wrestling, bears of wrestling, bears of wrestling. Monday night, no, hell my dressing, hell my dressing, hell my dressing. Beyond the ropes, life, real talk, shadows that creep. Guess bring wisdom, Mark Mess, Rob Noxious deep. Netflix, raw surge, we ride it with force. Beards grow timeless, legacy on course. 7 p.m. sharp, follow, catch the spark. 3 bearded voices, light up the dark. Fans stay true, grateful for the honest take. 3 beards of wrestling, the real, no fake.
Welcome everybody. It is Monday. It is 7 p.m. I know we are a beard short, but we have Adrian Bliss to sit in. We would like to introduce the new beard, Mr. Jim. Jim, how you doing? Yes. We're rocking.
You're playing on my computer.
I know. We are playing everywhere. It is Monday. Yes, we are here. We are waiting for our guests, but I don't think they are going to make it. We'll just shoot the breeze for a little bit, but first we got to pay some bills. If anybody is interested in being a wrestler, a valet, a referee, we have Adrian Bliss, or any worker whatsoever, please hit up Fort Knox's Pro Wrestling School, established in 2001. It is where I learned to hone my lovely craft, and trust me, it's money well spent.
Indeed.
Definitely. So, guys,
you gotta be ready to throw up. Because he's gonna run you up a hill.
Look, man, just because we had to run a Dairy Queen and stuff does not mean that it happens. It happens. And don't let the ice cream melt, because that's a problem.
Well, you could have sent you the cheesecake.
I think past a certain age, if you've been in the business long enough, wherever you trained, they made you throw up. I mean, that was just part and parcel, I think, of getting in. You just, they were gonna PT until you puked, so to speak.
Which is isn't that like nowadays a form of abuse? I'm not telling. I'm just saying, like, don't just say because you can't be abusing folks because people sensitive nowadays. What if you got hormonal issues?
I mean, if you want to tell Rob that, you go right ahead. I'm not
saying I'm telling Rob shit. First of all, I like to be able to choose normally and not say that. So I'm just saying in general, if some people are sensitive to stuff like that, and
I'm sorry, but man, these new kids are softer than baby shit.
I heard the term puppy piss. Does that count too? Like,
yeah, that's the same. Yeah. You can't run with the big dogs and piss like a puppy.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? There you go. I agree.
Yeah, if you're squatting instead of lifting your leg, you're probably best to just not. You know what I mean? You're probably best not to be in the ring.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, guys. I do want to mention that throughout all our shenanigans, we do have next week, February 23rd, a big guest, Mr. Lance Anawai. So tune in.
Cool.
7 p.m. We're gonna have Lance on the show. We're gonna ask him a shit ton of questions, probably annoy him, and he's gonna headbutt one of us, namely me.
Yeah. Lance has some big things going on right now, man.
Yeah,
Lance
is making moves. Lance is definitely making moves.
Yeah. His feud with Zilla is picking up in MLW, and he has some things going on at CCW, and he appeared at Valor, and he appeared at Seven Mountains Wrestling, and he's a mainstay in Central Pennsylvania anyway. This is
you got to show love.
This is his roots.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on shows with Lance any number of times. I can't say that I've really ever got to know him, but I always wonder sometimes for guys in his position who come from that family, that must be so hard to get started because you're living up to such a huge legacy. I can't wait to hear his insight into that next week. I think that'll be really cool.
I know it's gonna be great. It's going to be
I'm pretty sure you guys have been. You guys have been around other members of that family. I'm pretty sure you've been around Samu, and you've been around Alpha Junior. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I've been around a couple of the other fellows too, and they're proud guys, but they're also they're fellas, man. Like they're good dudes, man. You know what I mean? And they're great to work with in the ring. They're tough guys. You know what I mean? Lance is awesome in the ring. I've been in the ring with Lance a couple times. You know what I mean? He's really good. You know what I mean? I remember Alpha Jr. when he was probably about 150 pounds lighter, and he was more of a high flyer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, he changed his look and all that kind of stuff. But he was a big deal, man. Them guys. Well, they all are. And it's not because of the name, brother. They work hard.
Oh, without a doubt. Hard. Without a doubt.
Yeah. Definitely. Hey, listen, anyone out there who wants to be a wrestler, just like my good brother up there in the corner said, if you want to be a wrestler, you can come. You work just as hard, and you can make it. You know what I mean? You can make it if you work hard enough. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have to be a wrestler. Everyone finds their niche. You may be a referee. You may end up being an announcer. You may be a manager. But it's all about being the best at your position. You know what I mean?
You make a really good point there, Bliss. Yes, I wrestled, but I'm a far better manager than I ever was a wrestler. I'm way better as a manager. It's some of us are just better at one thing over another, and I'm man enough to admit it that I was never going to be more than a mid-card wrestler. I just wasn't. But as a manager, I do really, really well.
I started out as a manager.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Didn't you start as a manager as well? Like you started as a manager and you transitioned in the ring. Where Jim, your aspect, you started in the ring and you slowly transitioned as being a manager.
Yeah.
So it's funny how that works out. Like even working when I would be in that manager role, it gave me a different insight as well because you're learning a different tool set to add to your bag.
I think when you're not wrestling, when you're not actively wrestling, and when you're either a referee, a manager, if you're on commentary, whatever. I think when you're anything other than a wrestler, the job is a bit different. Wrestlers focus on getting themselves over and their ring partner over, whereas the support staff, if you will, our job is getting everybody over, especially like when you're on commentary or something. the job doesn't end. I mean, it's not, bell to bell. We've got, especially commentary, you're on the whole show.
Yeah.
You're going for 3 hours. There's not, sometimes there's not a break. It's a very different type of job. And sometimes I don't want to say get ignored, but there are certain places that you go where people don't necessarily appreciate just how valuable, like having a good referee when you have, especially in a really involved match with a lot of, gaga going on or whatever. Man, that referee is sometimes your lifeblood if you've got a good one in there, for sure.
Absolutely.
I always, back in the day, the managers were really they were much more important before than I think they are. No, I don't want to take anything away from the managers. So the way I'm saying this is there's not as many managers as there was before. I feel like I miss that. I think there should be more managers. I love managers. Guys can't do promos. Managers do that for them. You know what I mean? A manager can usually talk very well.
Yeah.
So that was a big job of a manager to, get his guy over. You know what I mean? Not just out there pulling on people's legs when they hit the ropes and crap like that. They were talking this guy into a position. You know what I mean? I feel like I wish there was more. You're good at it, Dex. It's great to see you,
Thank you, sir.
do your thing. I wish there were more of those guys. You know what I mean? Even on Monday night, I wish there was more of those people.
Yeah.
I mean, you have one of the best in Paul Heyman, don't get me wrong.
For sure.
But I wish there were more of those out there right now that could do that.
So I got a question.
The thing about Paul Heyman too, I was just the last time Monday Night Raw was in Hershey, I was there, and I paid particular attention to Paul while he was out there. And watching on TV, because the camera is focused on what's going on in the ring, you don't often see what Paul's up to.
Right.
Every move he sold it, everything that was going on, Paul was actively performing from the second he walked, out from backstage. The second he walked back, he enhanced everything that was going on in the ring. Seeing him live is really where you get to see just how integral he is at ringside. He's just tremendous.
So one of the things I was looking at when they were talking about Paul Heyman is they said he's virtually like a live action ventriloquist, because you can see all the parts and stuff that he's moving without even, and it looks like he's in the same spot, but he's literally involved in every aspect of the ring.
Yeah.
So like when I watch a manager do his thing, I can see I like the guys that hit the ring and the guys that are jaw jacking with the referee. But things like if his guy takes a big move and he's like, oh, you know what I mean? Like showing his disgust or come on, you know what I mean? Like those are the extra things that he does. You know what I mean? Like you don't see some of them do those things. Like Jim, we're older. We got to see the Grand Wizard. We got to see Freddie Blassie.
Yeah.
We got to see number one Paul Jones. You know what I mean? We got to see guys that, were great at what they did.
Jimmy Hart, Bobby Heenan. Gosh, there were so many good ones back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Good God.
Even to the point of like Arnold Skolin, what was his name? Lord Alfred Hayes. When he, I remember he was a bad guy and he used to manage Russians. You know what I mean? And he would go the length. You know what I mean? And we need that back. So, if there's people out there, contact us, man. You guys want to work? I hate opening that door, but you know what? Come on. Like, step it up. Let's go. You know what I mean?
And it's so much fun. I one of the great things about being a manager, as far as I'm concerned, like for me personally, I love when, I'm in the back and they're talking about a match and they're trying to figure out how they can get out of this match without anybody losing anything. And it's so much easier when I'm out there and if I'm working as a heel and I can say, hey, let me cheat, let me get caught, let my guy get disqualified. He doesn't look like he lost anything because still looks strong. The face still looks strong. Everyone looks strong, and I'm the only one that got nailed or whatever. And the crowd's
Right.
happy because the heel manager got caught and got thrown out or whatever. It's stuff like that I think it really enhances it. Like I know, working with Adrian, if we're somewhere and he's working as a heel, as Shango in this big monster, you don't want him to take a loss. You don't want
Right.
him to take a loss, and they're certainly not in the short term anyway.
Mhm.
If I'm there to get him disqualified or whatever, and that that if we need a face to go over, and that way it protects him, that's what we're for.
Right.
That's really what we're
Right.
for.
Right. I used to watch. The Grand Wizard, and he would do stuff like he would get chased, and he would slide in the ring and get his guy disqualified because he was trying to get away from the guy.
Yep,
Things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
it's great
And,
stuff.
those aren't necessarily the things that you're seeing on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, now Thursday, Friday, or Saturday.
No.
Right now we have. If there's a, I guess they're called, what are they called now? PELs or PELPs
PLE.
or PLE. They're pay-per-views to me still.
Me too.
We have wrestling 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Literally 7 days a week. You know what I mean? Because you got Impact on Thursday now. You know what I mean? And you got AEW on Saturday, SmackDown and NXT Raw. And if you have a pay-per-view, you got it on Sunday.
Bliss,
So
let me ask you something, Bliss. As a promoter, do you ever worry that like the audience is going to get fatigued, so to speak, that there's so much wrestling out there that they might just start to pull back?
no, because watching wrestling on TV and seeing wrestling live is two different things.
That's true. Yeah.
Or if you're watching wrestling on TV, you may be into it, or you may turn the channel and watch Becky or the Wrath of Becky or something on TV. You may just tune out. But if you go to wrestling, you become part of that show. You're literally 5 foot away from the ring. You see the expressions. For people who've never been to a live show, you go to a live show, you're itching to go to the next live show.
You're hooked.
You're
hooked.
CCW just ran in Lebanon, and there was a bunch of new people, and I don't think we made it past Sunday, and there were people in inboxes questioning when the next show was.
Yeah.
So good.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a total different experience. But you know what? That does things like that. It does cross your mind. So when I get those type of things crossing my mind, that's when I go, yeah, let me get these match cards out here, or let me get that video promo out there.
Yeah.
Let me create more of a buzz. You know what I mean? Let me get people more interested in what's going on. And
good point, because I don't think a lot of places, not excluding the ones like us, but like I don't think a lot of places really advertise like they should, because you'll get those moments where the crowd's dead, they're not getting a lot of buzz or not getting a lot of feedback because they're not pushing the product like they should. You got workers out there busting their ass, and you got some people behind the scenes who just kind of be like, oh well, they got a name on the poster, so they figured that would work. No, we all have to advertise, from handing up flyers, doing parades, going to stores, hanging up flyers. I remember after training, we got a show coming up in a month. After training, we would go to stores and hang flyers.
You got a paper. You got a paper. I think that's something that one of the bad parts about social media is I think a lot of people got real complacent in the wrestling business, where
they got lazy.
Yeah, it was so easy to just go on social media and put something. But the longer social media is around, the more they adjust the algorithm to make it harder for you to push it unless you pay to push it. And so by this time, so many groups have lost the knowledge of papering, or never did it at all because they're relatively new. And us old timers like Bliss and myself, we remember when that's all there was. There was nothing. There was no internet. There was no way to go out and do. You had to go out and pound the pavement and get flyers places and put them under the on the windshields of cars and do whatever you could to try and gain interest. And I think that the ease of social media has just made a lot, especially young guys in the business, they don't know that they need to go and do those things.
And that's why I have friends like the Wolfman, because we spent hours and hours in the car riding all over town, putting up cardboard posters with rolls and rolls of packing tape.
Yeah.
But okay, so here's the thing. So when you're on the internet and you post something on the internet, don't go crazy when you get 2,500 contact 2,500 people, because 2,500 people aren't in your area. They're not all in your area. Some of them might be Indiana, and some of them might be in California. They can be all over the United States. It's Facebook. They can be in different countries. So you can't. You gotta make contact with the people in your area. That's where the posters, the flyering comes in, giveaways, attending events, things like that. But also, when it comes down to advertising, wrestlers got to do promos. Do the promos. It's advertising. Give me something to post. You know what I mean? Okay, a lot of it falls on the promoter, but if the promoters don't got the guys, guys cry for bookings. Everybody wants booked, right?
Right.
Okay. Give me a reason to book you. You might be good in the ring. You might be great, but are you going to pay for yourself?
Right.
Are you going to do a promo for me and grab 10 people that want to see you because you had a badass promo?
That is the smartest thing I've heard somebody say about wrestling in a long time. Do you pay for yourself? Guys are in my inbox all the time. They want booked. They want to do something. And I say to people all the time, if I bring a guy in, I'm watching what the numbers are in terms of butts and seats. I'm looking at what the numbers are on at least a rolling 3-month basis. And I'm looking at what that average is. And if I bring a brand new guy in and we push him and we've got him on the poster and we're saying he's making his first appearance, et cetera, and we give him a good match and we put him over. And at the end of the night, I'm seeing it's the same average ticket sales as it was before he got there. What did he do?
Right.
What did he draw for that company? He didn't draw anything. Right. Maybe he got the crowd that was there to pop. And not that you don't need guys like that, you do. But ultimately, if you're bringing new guys in and you've got a full roster, man, that person better be able to enhance the program somehow. And the easiest way to do it is to put more asses in the seats than were there the previous 3 shows.
Right.
And
well,
that's exactly what you're referring to.
And I'm going to tell you this. I booked people like Nyla Rose. I booked people like Jordan Grace. You know what I mean? I booked people like Patrick Clark before they were superstars.
Yeah.
Right? But those people did what I was talking about.
They paid for themselves.
They made sure they showed up with their music. I didn't have to fight and find their music. They had it. They were professional. They showed up. You know what I mean? To this day, these people are still cool with me. You know what I mean? I might not have contact with them every day or anything, but if I see them, they're like, hey, you know what I mean? And I big up them on the things that they've done beyond the glimmer and gold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're there because they did the extra things. Shane Strickland was wrestling with us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wrestled him right up on the top of the hill in North York. And you know what? He was a worker then. He was out there. He was putting himself out there. He was putting the hard work in. You know what I mean? He was living in Lancaster or Mannheim or wherever, but he was putting the work in. And look at him now. You know what I mean?
Yep.
WWE don't know what they lost.
Well, and we spoke about promos earlier. I see so many of these promos, even today. People are filming a promo in their car or something like. Please, if you're a worker and you're listening to this, please do not do that. you can go, even if you are all but broke, you can go to a Hobby Lobby or somewhere like that and buy these rolls of paper that teachers use to put on their bulletin boards. And they're about, so long. It's certainly enough to put behind you. You could tape it up there on your wall in your apartment or your house with painter's tape, drop it down. There you've got a backdrop, put your camera there, film it, and it looks professional. And it didn't cost you, hardly anything. It probably cost you less than $10. And
You see this in back of me?
Yeah.
I've shot so many promos right here.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Make an investment in yourself at $10, but that can pay dividends, because when you give a promo to whatever company you're going into, announcing your arrival, et cetera, my gosh, that makes life so much easier for the booker, the promoter, the people that are doing your production stuff or your social media. It makes life so much easier and helps them help you as a performer to get over.
Yes.
So let me actually as promoters and people who are in charge of booking and booking people. If I'm a guy, say I'm Bob Wilson, indie worker, and you go, hey, I need a promo, and I shoot a promo in my car, am I getting booked?
No, not at this point.
I don't know. I gotta look at your video. Not that video, but I need to see you work. And I could take a video of you in the car, and I could put music behind it and make you a badass.
Now, Bliss, I may want to retract my answer actually, now that Bliss said that, because I do have, I'm as well, Adrian knows, but some of the audience may not. I edit video as one of my day jobs. So, certainly I can take the background out of something and I can do those things, but it's a lot more work for me. And so, my attitude is, if I don't have to do the work versus the guy that I have to do it with, I'm far more likely to book the guy that I've got that I don't have to do extra stuff with than I am the guy that I have to go through all that effort with, because I'm so good.
That's a fair answer. Honestly, that's literally a fair answer, because if it's less work on you to have to get a guy to kind of get a guy there and get him where you need him to be, then it's going to be a little easier. Whereas in Bliss, you're willing to go behind and be like, okay, I need to cut this out, got traffic out.
But don't get it messed up. Like, there's ways to do a promo in a car that makes it different. If you're in your car and you're like, yeah, I just pulled over, I'm in Malibu or whatever, or you're driving down the street and you got the windows open, your hair's blowing in the wind and everything, I'm enjoying this sunny day before I come to the venue to destroy you.
Right.
Certainly if it's part of the gimmick or it's part of the promo or whatever, absolutely. It's when it's clearly not, and they're just that's when you're like, come on, guys,
right?
It's not so much what you're doing. Like, if you're in the kitchen cooking dinner, but it's part of the promo or the angle, or somehow, or perhaps you're, I forget what name you used, Adrian, for this nebulous indie worker, but if you're the chef, whatever, and you're cutting a promo while cooking, well, that makes sense. That makes sense, and I'm going to go for that immediately, and I'm going to say, okay, that's good stuff. But if you're Bob the mechanic, and that's your gimmick, and you show yourself, changing a diaper, well, that's probably not doing a whole lot for your character or what have you. Just saying.
Right. So we're talking about shooting promos, right?
Right.
And a lot of people, the people are listening to us talk about this, but this is just one of the things that the internet caused. Do you understand? The internet caused workers to have to do things like this. So now interviews, of course, were always part of the training. You know what I mean? That's part of your training. That's part of the things that you do when you're training. But they would be done in the ring, or they would be done after your match and things like that. Now they're used to help promote a show. So, they're one of the things that you need to learn, because now they are part of the norm. The internet changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
Dex, correct? Right?
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
And this
Yeah.
is another thing that the internet did. Just like it smartened up all the marks. I don't like to call them. I call them fans. But it
Fans.
smartened everyone up. Okay, that's fine. But even the smartest smartened up Mark wants to be entertained, and they want you to draw them into that. So they want a good promo from you. They want a good poster from you. They want to be drawn into your show. That's why they're still fans of the business.
Yeah. One of the big things that I put out on the rare occasion that I am in an environment where I am training somebody, one of the things that I put out a lot is I try to explain to potential wrestlers or training wrestlers that a promo in today's day and age, and being in the business in today's day and age, because of the death of kayfabe, is really about making sure that you're able to provide suspension of disbelief to the audience. It's much like television or the movies or whatever. No one thinks that when they see the Hulk on screen that he's actually ripping a building apart for real. Everybody
Right.
knows that that's a movie, that it's not real. But they still it is cool, but they suspend disbelief because they're
Right.
able to get into it. And that's all about the way that you perform and your acting and that character development and that emotion. And that's why selling is so important. You see so many guys, especially today, they'll go out there and it's move after move after move, and they're not taking time to sell that and to sell that injury and to sell that violence so that the audience feels bad for that guy. And they want to cheer him because they want him to get up and they want him to do these things. And part of that is the promo, and I think a lot of schools I see, well, they'll start teaching them promos. They'll teach it in a really, really old school way where I'll make sure you put the building and the time and the name and all that. You don't need any of that. Okay. Let me tell you something. On social media today, if that promo goes up and the written post doesn't have the event is here, this, blah, 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 you shouldn't need any of that in a promo
Right.
today. None of
Right.
that should you need. What you need is that character development. You need to explain to the audience why you're fighting this guy and what this is all about. If there's background, let them know that background and why you hate this SOB and you want to beat the crap out of them. Those are the things
Right.
that draw people in and give people that sense of story, that sense of narrative, that sense of character development. And then they care about that performer, that character, whether they care about him as an antagonist or a protagonist, depends on whether he's a heel or face. But ultimately, what we're looking for in promos today is that we're looking for that. Jake Roberts was always probably one of the best, if not the best, certainly top three when it comes to promos. He was so good at this. And I think about how people who are students of the game, like the three of us are, where everyone can quote a Jake Roberts promo.
Oh, yeah.
It may not be the same one, but we can all quote one because he was so good and so good at drawing you in. Those are the things that matter today in a promo. They really are.
Did not have to scream.
No, never.
You know what drew me into a Jake Roberts promo? He'd get real like me. He'd look at you and go, now you know I'm gonna do this and you go, snicker like that kind of thing. That was so awesome. So, question. Okay, here we go. So we've built ourselves up to the internet, pros of the internet,
right?
Things, benefits of the internet.
Right.
Now, let's touch base on something. What's turnoffs of what people do with using the internet? What are some turnoffs? Mine, I got a couple. A long, drawn-out promo.
Yes.
Will turn me off.
Absolutely.
I will turn you off. Literally turn you off.
You got 30 seconds.
A bad poster. I will show no interest. I've lost interest altogether in your product with the trashy promo, trashy poster.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it. I need something clear, and I need something that I can read, and I need something that not necessarily strikes me like, oh wow, look at that. But I'm gonna look at them, gonna go, oh, that's there, and that's that Fed. Look, that's their logo. I know who that is. You know what I mean? Oh, when is that date? Oh, that's that. You know what I mean? Over, how can I say it? Oversaturation. I think that sometimes companies put too much stuff out at one time, and you can't. You know what I mean? Put out 3 or 4 matches. Let it marinate for the week, and then Monday come back and put out 4 more matches. And put out all your matches. I'm not interested in. I'm not that I'm not interested, but give me 4 matches and tell me something good about these 4 matches that's going to draw me in.
Right.
And then give me 4 more the next week and give me a reason to be drawn into those matches.
So
now I want to see it.
If you got a show coming up in a month and you're saying what one of these promotions that you're looking at, your advice to them, if they, let's say it's 7 matches on the card, you would want like 2 a week, given a description of what you got going on. And would you start with your best match first? Or would you say
I say you start with the guy who sends you the first promo, because he does the promo. You put the match at the end of the promo, the match card at the end of the promo, with the poster and the information, and you send it out.
Yeah.
Me personally, I like to. I plan my shows. I got my matches for my shows, and I know who's wrestling who, and I put my match cards together, and then I send them to the workers, and I let them know who they're working, and then I expect you to give me a promo. That's it. It may not necessarily go out with your promo, but if you send me a promo, I'm going to put that with that. You know what I mean?
I just saw someone write, what the heck you talking about promo. Boy, when people start to drone on and things don't make sense, what are we doing here? Yeah, that's God. No, I think I'm actually going to go in a different direction on the things I hate about the internet, specifically social media.
Okay.
Some of the boys tend to forget, and I use the boys loosely, that it could be the girls too. People go online, and social media has given us this false sense of security, and so people will post anything. And you cannot, when you're a public figure, you cannot just go out there and start posting things about politics and religion and this type of nonsense. You cannot be doing that. If you want to do that on your personal page, go right ahead. And I tell every worker I have this. But when it comes to your worker profile, that is for entertainment purposes only. It's for you to promote yourself, promote the shows that you're on. Do that. You're not supposed to be out there posting this stuff. And then you have some of these guys who are, well, I live my gimmick and this is all the only promo or the only profile I have. Okay, then you better keep that stuff off the internet.
Yeah.
Don't go out there and post things, because here's the thing. There's no promoter on this planet. I don't care if it's TKO all the way down to the smallest indie promotion. None of us want to deal with nonsense and problems because we have a worker that's out there pushing some sort of, political agenda that half of our audience doesn't like. And that's the reality of it is that promoters want everybody's money. I don't care who they are when they show up. I want them to buy a ticket and I want them to come in. And so we don't want to alienate somebody because they happen to be, a religion that's other than the one that this worker is out there talking about. We can't have that.
Yeah.
And so that's that. If there's one thing that really just grinds my gears, it's when workers don't understand that we have an obligation as public figures and as performers to not engage in that type of stuff. We have to put forth a professional image that any company would be willing to hire and put us on the screen representing.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not a.
If you are a sissy gimmick, what are you doing online with your wife? You've never seen it. You've never seen it. and you know what? Trouble at home, it happens. It happens to trouble at home. I think there's wives that get mad because as a promoter, you got to be nice to everybody.
Yeah.
So, hey, are you flirting with her? No. I'm trying to get her money.
I'm trying
to get her to bring her 3 kids to my wrestling show.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure she comes and sees me wrestle because she thinks I'm cute and she's gonna pay for merchandise. That's what's happening.
Yeah, listen. I'm gonna tell you this. Wrestling is not a business that you want to be in. If you plan on being married, it is not. Because if you're going to no, honest, this is God's honest truth from the guy who lived it. If you really are going, if you plan on putting 100% into wrestling, and this isn't for everyone. This isn't for like workers. It is kind of for workers too, but like when my dream wasn't to be a wrestler. My dream was to be a promoter or a booker. Yeah. That was my dream. I would sit home and I would actually write cards when I was younger. Like that's what I wanted to do.
It's so wild. I did the same thing.
Isn't that great? Wild, I actually made my own card game. We'll have to talk about it one day. So
yeah, we do have to talk about that.
when you and honestly, it's not just wrestling. It's with any business. Okay. When you really want to build a business and you really want something to work, okay, you spend a lot of hours on it. You spend a lot of your free time, you spend a lot of your spare time to be successful.
Yeah.
Okay. And sometimes it's just hard on your significant other. And you have to be able to balance that. Amen. You know what I mean? And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't good at that at all. And I lost her because I wasn't good at that. Well, amongst other things. I was just a jackass too sometimes. But, I had a dream. And I lived my dream. Okay? But I had something that I was trying to do and I was trying to build. And, you lose things in trying to build and trying to follow your dreams at sometimes, at times. There's people that fall by the wayside while you're on your way to becoming or getting what you want out of life. You know what I mean? And that comes with any business. I've seen men start construction businesses and their wives are on them about, you're always out there. You're out there until 11 o'clock because he's trying to build this business, because he's working his ass off to give not only himself something but you and build a family. And it takes a woman who's ready for all that. They got to be ready for all that. And not everyone, when they come into it, they don't know. When you step into your wrestling business, they don't know what it consists of. No. And wrestlers that are already in the business, when you get with somebody, now she got to be willing to give up her Saturdays every single Saturday. Guys, Are you serious? Yeah. Every single Saturday to travel to God knows where for I don't know how many hours for a little bit of money and sit there while you're having a good time with the boys. They're going to sit there and sell your merch or watch you wrestle. 3 hours after they get there. And then if you wrestle at the beginning of the show, they're going to sit and watch the rest of the show they care not at all about. So,
don't
wrestling. Yeah. And if you're a young wrestler, if you're 23 or something and you're training to be a wrestler or something and you got your little girlfriend, be prepared for your girlfriend to be at your neck about, we don't do anything. You don't take me anywhere. You're training Monday to Fridays. And then you're loading the ring on Friday night. And then you're getting up early Saturday morning and we're going to these shows. When do we spend time together? You sleep all day on Sunday and watch football.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's honestly true of any businessman. As somebody that owns two myself, I think of all the years, I put into, the training it takes and everything else, and now I have a barber shop and I'm successful, and it's been open for almost 11 years, and I have a video production business, but the time it takes to learn to edit and to film and to frame shots and everything involved in that, you do all that. And I've never been married. I have no children, because I've spent the last 25 years of my life building everything I have. And that was not, and now I just turned 50, for the sake, you guys knew that, but for the sake of the audience, they didn't. And I sit back and I think to myself, wow, now I would be ready to do those other things like, get married and have, but I'm 50. That time has ended. I'm not going to be making babies at this point.
If you make babies at this point, they're going to be some special babies.
Your baby's gonna be 20 years old when you're 70 years old.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna say, how am I sending them to college from the morgue? You know what I mean? Like, just can't do it.
Your pension to be sending them.
Yeah.
The other half of your pension doesn't be sent them. But
that's the only way to be happening.
I don't want to turn anyone off of coming into the wrestling business. I love the wrestling business.
No, you just being honest.
I want people to understand what it consists of. Did anyone ever wonder why actors always date actors, and why wrestlers always dating wrestlers, and why because they're on set together, because they can see each other every day because they're wrestlers. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They're dating who they see all the time.
They understand.
If not, how are you going to hold a relationship together when you're on the road? You're WWE and you're on the road all the time. How are you gonna actually sustain that? You know what I mean?
Shout out to all the spouses who have though. Like, I give all the credit in the world. Like, to the people who, oh my God, to the people that were waiting at home for 25 years or whatever, and that they still were with their wrestler spouse all these years and everything. I shout out to them, because gosh, that's got to be difficult.
Can you name one?
Yeah, Bobby Heenan's wife is one. Certainly. Yeah. I think, as a matter of fact, I think Gorilla Monsoon, I think his wife was with him all those years. Who else? There's been a number of,
really a shitty situation.
What was that?
You could say Linda McMahon, but that's a whole shitty situation.
Well,
in more ways than one.
But one thing about that is you're probably talking about people who actually had lives and dreams of their own that they were following while being married. You know what I mean? Linda McMahon. Right. You know what I mean? Like, Linda McMahon is she's not some lady that's just sitting home waiting for her husband to come home. You know what I mean? Like, she's a mover and shaker, man. You know what I mean? So
yeah. When somebody's mentioning Rey Mysterio's wife,
Rey Mysterio, yeah, that was cool. That was cool. I like that. That was cool. I like that.
There's another one. You got.
I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on and I can't see it. AJ Styles, I see that though.
Listen, Bliss, when I'm doing this, that's because I have to get close enough to read the damn thing. It's so...
Man, hey, listen. I've been kicking around LASIKs. I'm thinking about getting LASIKs.
I just don't want to spend the money, but I realized in the last 8 months that I'm having to do this with the pill bottle. I didn't have to do that before.
I get it free with my job once.
Oh, see, hell no. The moment I got to start doing that and leaning back and looking at shit, it's over with.
It's coming.
Oh, it's coming, bro.
He's talking like it's not coming. Shit, better enjoy it now, brother.
Mm-hmm.
And you like to read?
The moment I got to do this and shit, it's problem. It's problem.
No, it's happening. It's happening, Adrian. And when it does, just understand that Blitz and I are going to point and laugh. Because we know we're here now. It is what it is.
That's all right.
This right here. That's I told you so.
Yep.
I ain't gonna be able to see it, so I ain't worried about it.
Listen,
Yeah, but
if
you like to read.
we'll get
So-
close up on you when we do it, so you can see it. As a matter of fact, Adrian, if you would eat more sushi, that would probably keep your eyes
Jim, we're
better
gonna kick
for
Jim out
longer.
the show real quick because Jim's got to go. Thank you for
What?
being with us, Jim.
No, I don't. I'm fine.
Get your ass off the food. Is what you need to do. Anyway, moving on subjects. 'Cause, moving the subjects. I mean, yeah. Anyway, but to go along with what I was saying, you put a lot of heart and soul into something, and it's hard to. I don't want to say bring somebody along with you, but if if they don't understand one, your passion for it, two, that it's been a part of your life for a long time. Like me, I've been around this since my son was 21. Well, since my son was born, he's 21. So it's like Bliss, you can attest to this, having a medical emergency and being told you can't do it, then coming back, even like back into it because it's in you. Same thing, like it's just in you. It's in you. It's in your system. It's in your cells. You think about it. You breathe it. You sleep it. Even when you're not around it, it's one of the thoughts you have. I've become better at business because of wrestling. I've become a better writer, a better comedian because of wrestling. Editing, like just editing photos. I learned a lot because I was around people in the wrestling business who did these things. So I was able to kind of gather, these skills. So if they're not ready for it, it's kind of hard to convince somebody to be like, hey, so I'm going to do this thing to where I'm going to put my body through a car crash every time I land and get right back up and do it all over again for a while. And then when I'm done doing that, I'm going to be hurting and sore and don't want to do anything for probably the next couple of hours. Once I get home, I'm just going to sit there and lay still. Maybe Sunday we can hang out.
Oh yeah,
it's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah,
it depends on how hardcore the hardcore match is, whether or not you're available Sunday.
Yes. Listen, a couple months back, I took a back body drop, and I totally missed the ladder and I landed on the floor. And I was up pretty high.
Yes, you were.
I was up pretty high. And then last show, I'm pretty sure I bruised my chest or my lung. Because every time I cough, it hurts.
It was because I gripped you too tight.
And I can barely walk. Because my knees are trash and I get injections now. Okay. And I think every day about retiring. So anybody that wants to see me, I'll be in York on March 14th. I'll be in Deltona, Florida on March 29th. Yeah, right. Like, I know I put this wear and tear on my body.
Yeah.
Before I wrestled, I played football. You know what I mean? From the time I was 7 years old. Like, I know what I was doing, but my whole aim was always to be on the business side. I love it. It's where I wanted to be from the beginning, and I fell in love with the wrestling part of it. So I wanted one thing. I fell in love with another aspect of it because I knew I could do it, but at the time I came in, it was the big guy era. You know what I mean? Little guys wasn't the thing. So, we started, with guys like Reckless Youth and Amazing Red and guys like that. Started to be more of a Quackenbush, more of like smaller guys.
Oh, and shout out to Amazing Red. That dude is so underrated. Not everybody gives him the props he deserves. Amazing Red.
Yo, Quackenbush.
Oh, Quackenbush too.
Quack, Jesus, Quack's fantastic.
Amazing Red, man. I used to love watching him. Watching him.
Oh yeah, Major. You can still see him wrestle. He's wrestling here and there, I believe. Didn't he wrestle in Hog a little while ago? I'm not sure, something like that. He had a match. Maybe it was his retirement match. I know Homicide retired.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Which was crazy because I love
Quackenbush is still working.
Quack is still working.
Yeah, Quack's still working, but I mean, he's got because he's been in it longer than I have, for sure. And I've been in 23 years now. So, I mean, he's got to have, oh my God, I would think he's close to 30 years, I would think. Just,
Hello, Alan.
It's a great worker, though.
Yeah, that's ooh.
Yeah, that's. I tell you, there was some things. There was supposed to be another guest tonight, and there was some things that I wanted to reminisce. I was going to reminisce with her because there was some things I wanted to talk about. So all day I was thinking about things, and I was just thinking about growing up and watching like Spectrum Wrestling. You know what I mean? And I was thinking about the time that I was home and I turned on the MSG network at the time. I think it might have been Channel 9 or 11 Alive or something. It was one of the. We didn't have a whole bunch of cable channels then, but the Madison Square Garden network was on, and I got to see Jimmy Snuka jump off the cage. You know what I mean? And I remembered her from wrestling. You know, I believe her WWF time was between that I would have seen her was between like 81 and 83. Pre-Hogan, Bob Backlund champion time. And I got to think about a lot of that stuff today. And that's why within our talk, a lot of within the evolution of this conversation that we've had this evening, a lot of it has evolved. It showed people the evolution of the internet, the evolution of life, and we are part of the evolution of pro wrestling.
Yes.
Because podcasts are the new information highway for a lot of wrestling now. You know what I mean? Alan was just on there. There's a lot of great podcasts out there. You know what I mean? A lot of people who love wrestling, a lot of different opinions about wrestling, because me personally, I don't believe that any opinion in professional wrestling is the correct opinion. I think that everyone has their little piece of this business that makes this business what it is. So I don't think there's any wrong, and I don't think there's any right. I think there's people out there that are freaking awesome, you know, with the knowledge that they convey over to you. You know what I mean? That don't get enough credit. That do podcasts. I think there's guys on Facebook that actually talk about things like this that don't get enough credit for pushing different ways the business was and how, you know, like we have to keep some of the old school for the new wrestling to really be a great product. We still have to revisit old school wrestling. We have to.
I agree with that 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And I think part of that too is that we can't lose the history of the business. You know, so many young people I talk to that are in the business, wherever they went to school, you know, nobody sat them down and explained why kayfabe was a thing. No one sat them down and explained psychology and why it was a thing. And that's such a shame, and we can't lose those type of things. And I think that's one of those ways where, you know, thanks to the podcasts and thanks to the old school guys that go on them and they talk about it and such, that information is not going to be lost because, you know, one of the good things about the internet, and it's forever. We know nothing's going away. So at least that information is there. But it does fall to guys like us to make sure it's continued to be conveyed to the younger guys for as long as we happen to be around and can do it.
Right. I'd like to thank Adrian. I'd like to thank Shane, you, of course, Dex, for this podcast and the people that you have on here, because last week's podcast with Mark Mess was one of the greatest podcasts I've heard ever. First of all, Mark and Troy Mess are the original guys I was in training with. Okay. Wolfman second. I was in the ring with Mark and Troy Mess first. When Mark started talking last week, I was back in Blandon. listen to every single thing this guy was saying out of his mouth. And I tell you, the way he sees wrestling is still beyond the scope of where I'll ever be, ever. Like he's incredible. You know what I mean? And when you sit and listen to people like him, like just him explaining kayfabe last week, you know what I mean? Like that kayfabe's not dead. It's just experienced in a different way.
He's 100% right too.
It's nothing that he's sitting there. He's not sitting thinking about this. You know what I mean? He's telling you. He's telling you. He doesn't have to think about that. He knows that. He's telling you. You must learn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's telling you. Like, there's guys out there that have so much knowledge when it comes to this business. If you don't stop and listen,
it's scary.
It's scary. It's scary.
Mark's been in it so long that he is the business in a lot of ways, you know, because he's been around for so long and he's so knowledgeable. To your point, Bliss, he doesn't have to think about it. It's just second nature to him because he's been doing it for so long and he's so good. You know, anybody that's in this business, and I don't care if you've been in it a year or 20 years, you can benefit from sitting there and just keeping your mouth shut and your ears open when a guy like Mark West is talking.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Well,
I'll tell you this. So the new guys, there's going to be a certain point. You're training every day. You're out there wrestling. You think you're having good matches. And then one day you're going to go, I get it. And I'm telling you new guys out there, when you can, I'm not even going to explain it to you. You're just going to be like, I get it. And when that day comes, reach out to me and be like, yo, man, remember you said that? I get it. I get what you're talking about. It could be now. It could be 10 years from now. You could be in the ring 10 years from now and be like, yo, I get it. There's literally a point where you get it. And it's not going out there and doing 50,000 moves and all that stuff. One day you're going to be like, wow, I get it.
Yeah.
That's Mark. I get it is Mark.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
That's the living embodiment of I get it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much. I know we ran a little bit over this evening. We were just having way too much fun. Remember,
I talk a lot.
Hey, we all talk a lot. So, I mean, I'm not complaining. Remember, tune in next week that we have Lance Anawai on the show. We'll be back for another episode of the Three Beards of Wrestling. I want to thank Bliss for coming on. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, everybody who watched. You guys have a great night. And till next time.
We'll see you next time.